God is love, and so when you talk about love, it's almost, how can you not love nobody? Because, I think when it all come down to, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. And so, and love is that. That means that every human being, God made man, he made woman. And everybody know what the devil's job is, to divide to conquer. So if you know that his job to divide to conquer, so you understand the reason why you have problems, because his job is to divide to conquer. But if you love, then you always forgive. Because if you don't forgive, you won't be forgiven. And so these are the things that have a lot to do with me being who I am, because my mom and my grandma kind of set that example for me as a kid, and to grow up and to being able to forgive them for, the things that I could have held on and said, why should I forgive them? Right? Because, love is forgiving.
Well, the Bible says forgive 70 times 7. So you're supposed to always forgive. And that's I think one of my biggest lessons I learned as a kid like you from my family, that I had to forgive, or I would never be forgiven. Not that this conversation is, but I think I was raised in a very Christian home, and probably like Evander. So I think, and then my brother was Buddhist. So I've been exposed, and I'm sure like you, Evander, traveling throughout the world. But I think one of the principles of peace has to be forgiveness. Because if not, you live with bitterness and anger. And I think it's the only way.
Yes. And the example is Mr. Holyfield. When you are fighting, when you are really, punching, at that moment where you are able to express your integrity and your strength in its fullness, at that time there is a love. If you have failed to truly, execute your strength, you have wasted your time. It's hard to forgive if you waste your time. So in my mind, really, to be able to love is to be able to achieve full potential of your being. So whether you want to call that as the gift of God, or you want to call whatever you want to call, you can call it. But as a human being, to be able to truly realize this moment is the most valid moment that exists for all of us. So on that, battlefield, if you want to call it, or the ring, what do you call ring? Boxing ring?
Yes.
Boxing ring. So if you are not the person who is able to truly shine, you're not able to express your love. Love is not just a mushy something, smile at everyone or anything like that. Love is truly able to bring that energy to its complete state, which is the most natural state. So at that time, if you are able to remain in awareness, there's no Mr. Holyfield as a separate from that boxing that you are punching at somebody's nose or whatever you're doing.
When I look at love, because you got to understand, fear is there, the fear, and God said, fear not. So I realized that when it all came down to boxing, because this is what I did real well, fear is, I think people get it confused. How they feel, they call it fear. But it's not fear, because fear is when you don't do what you're supposed to do.
When you're incomplete.
Yeah, I realize every time if anybody talk about me getting in the ring, and anytime I think that I could lose, or it's gonna cause me some kind of conflict if they don't go my way, then you get these butterflies, or you get this heart beat a little faster than others and all this, because it means a lot to you, which try to scare you away, try to make you walk away. And so this is the time to be strong and walk towards and do what's supposed to happen, because you know what to do. But that's what I feel that I bring to the table, because I've been boxing ever since I was 8 years old, and I had to face these things, and I didn't know how to explain it. To my heart is beating fast, my legs shaking and all this, but I'm doing something that I can do now. But the enemy trying to make me quit, because that's the only way the enemy could beat you, is to get you to quit on yourself. So these are the positive things that I just want to let the young people, or people who don't know, that the enemy job is the same thing all the time. He can't make you quit. He can't make you quit, but it's up to you to quit. But he put this pressure and started allowing you to think about, oh, what are people going to say if I don't make it? But, if you focus on putting the foot down on the pedal and go forward.
Yeah, I think most important thing is when somebody is trying to create a fear, and if you are not able to actualize your total strength, that fear that person is trying to cause to you will affect you. However, if we are able to rise to the occasion, no matter who is creating any fear, that will never be able to penetrate in yourself, so that you will be independent from all the fears, hatred, jealousy, whatever it is out there. So it's very important for us to always maintain our own dignity, in a sense that we can be complete in the present moment. Of course, there's a way to be in that completeness. As I just mentioned, one example is that if there's awareness in that moment when you are punching somebody, who can say that is not a meditation? How to define what meditation is, how to define what peace is. I think real peace is when there is a strength that is completely actualized by being, not by doing something. So in a sense, when you are in that moment, if you are totally able to experience your strength, you are being. So therefore, nobody can defeat when you are being. When you are doing, we are involved in contrived, exhaustible energy, so that we are defeated all the time. So not to condition, to be able to remain unconditional all the time, is to truly embrace peace. So like a mother's unconditional love is example for that as a humanly we can experience. Because of course enlightened unconditional experience is hard to express, hard to bring in an example or say this is what it is. But like how mothers are able to truly endure, not just endure, but in a way passionately able to embrace her role as a mother who is capable of delivering and raising the child. So I think that kind of strength is the cause of peace.
I loved what Evander said though about fear, because I believe that, like the butterflies in your stomach, like if you can be in that moment, be who you're supposed to be, and not let the enemy get to you. That's your words are very inspiring, because I get scared, and I think that if we can deal with that and live in the moment, but not give up, because there's so many times. I mean, Evander, you were attacked physically. I've had things happen with me. Probably all of us in this room have. But I love what you said, because it's easy to give up. And when you get the butterflies, I think now when I get that, I'm gonna look at that like this is a good thing that I'm feeling it. I think sometimes that is peace though, to feel that at that moment, because you're living your life that you were supposed to live. You had a gift God had a plan. He had this mission, and you fulfilled it. So that feeling, you didn't quit. You just went out there. I can't even imagine what it was like to do what you've done, but you've been so successful at it, and you've given hope and strength to so many people. Both of you all have in different ways, but to not give up. I couldn't have done what you've done. I couldn't have done what either one of you have done, but it's amazing to hear. This is the first time I've ever heard it explained that way, to be honest. It was really inspirational.
Just as I sit here, I'm the only guy that ever been 4-time heavyweight champion of the world. I said, so I became that because what? I didn't quit. Setbacks, yeah, I had setbacks, but I had comebacks too. So life is just about not quitting. And, you know, the thing is, I tell people, I said, well, as I came up, I said, all I wanted to do, I said, because, because if you really believe something, then what do you pray for? God, please don't let me quit. I would pray, Lord, please don't let me quit. Because you as a person may want to quit. But how can you quit if you ask God to help you not to quit? All I wanted to be the very best that I could be. And the very best that I could be what it is. And I'm happy with it. They said, do you think somebody ever break your record? I said, records are meant to be broken. I said, but at least I set one to give somebody ain't a shot at it. So it's a whole big thing. That's what it's really about.
That is so amazing and inspirational. I get scared a lot. That's why I said I'm probably not the most evolved person in the room. But I'm like you. I pray, and I ask God to carry me. And there are many days I wake up and I don't want to do what I'm doing, and I can't say that I love what I'm doing. I have people ask me a lot, but I believe that God carries me, and I believe that when I can't do it, He does, and when my time's over to do what He wants me to do, then my time's over. And I love your message. I think people need to hear that message, because so many people quit. And right now, I think one of the reasons there's a lot of bad things happening in our world is because we're not asking God. And I do understand there's different beliefs, and I do understand that we call God, different things. I was raised with a Bible study down in my table every morning by my mother. And then I was like you. If I didn't do what my mother said, that was it. But I believe one of the issues that we're having is that we're quitting. We're not trying to find the light. We're not trying to find the goodness. We're not asking God to carry us, and we're giving up. So people need to hear that message of hope, and they also need to hear the message of peace, because right now we're letting people that don't have those messages talk. We've got to have people like you talk. We've got to have a place where people come together, even if they don't agree and everything, and try to fulfill what we're supposed to do in this world, and to do good, and to do right, and to love unconditionally, and to forgive. Because I think one of the hardest things sometimes is to forgive. But your story, which is not a story, your life is a testimony to not quitting, to, I think, surrendering. Because it's hard to give someone else, to give God your life and say, I just can't do this, you're going to have to do it for me. But thank you, because that helps me. Because there's been a lot of days lately I wanted to quit. So that is a lot to hear, so thank you.
Welcome.
Even the message of peace, though, I think spreading the message of peace, you're
regardless of religion.
Regardless of religion, no, you're approached by people that think that's not significant. It's not important. It's actually so important in our world, and we've got to come together despite our differences of beliefs.
Yeah.
And we've got to do some amazing things and I always say we've got to put our pride aside and our differences and do and our fear, right? Because I agree. This helped me. I don't say that this really helped me, this talk, because I think that we have a lot to do right now for future generations, and our time's not over. We're here, so we have to do things to help our world.